Yeah, my church is the Vikings game.
Hey, frugal nuts.
Your nuts are frugal? Is that his name on Discord?
No.
You just called him that? Are you there, frugal nuts?
Yeah, I'm here.
Were the hands on the snaky this morning? Is that why you weren't waking or what? I told you that this morning.
Wakey, wakey, hands off
Yeah,
snaky.
no, like I said, I was just up way too late.
Yeah, 4 a.m. You're a wild man.
I was kind of scared we didn't get a. I was kind of scared we didn't get a. You forgot about the pod. That's yeah. That sounds about right, Cliff.
Thanks, Cliff.
Sounds just right about right. Welcome back, everyone, to episode 13 of Big Deck Energy. My name is Tyler Barrett, one of your hosts. I'm joined today with Josh Lucian and Benjamin Clifford. We're missing Bailey today. He had to work. But today we're going to talk a lot about Arcane Rising. It's going to be our Rathe review of that set. But before we dive into that, let's get into what we did in Fab this week. Did you guys play in anything this week at all?
I did not. I had to do some business opportunity stuff, so
Sure.
I was doing that.
Oh, hell yeah.
How about you guys?
Cliff, did you play?
Well, me and Wes once again had some games to get in, and this week we had some fun games actually, because I finally got around to modifying Dead at All with the new cards, and he built a Dash.io. So we were just at my house, just fucking going at each other with mechs.
Nice. Lots of mech testing there.
That was pretty fun. Low key, Dead at All with the new mech cards, kind of a menace. One of the games I hit the Teklo Foundry heart, and off the top of the deck I got a red boom grenade and a red Hadron Collider.
Holy shit. And you just get to play them both for free, like off the Foundry, right?
Those just come into the arena for free. And
wild.
Then, yeah, it was nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Datadol's ability is actually insanely strong, if you think about it. Just getting your items, if you boost them into play.
Oh, yeah. That's why they made her intellect 3, I think. They had to balance it somehow.
Is that able to do the crank mechanic as well? Because it's technically whenever the item comes into play, you can crank it.
Yes, she is.
So you can get all those extra action points.
Does she start at 20?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's still
20 health, 3 intellect.
I just wish that we had gotten another specialization for her in this all mech set.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, her version of Teklo Core isn't that good.
No.
The other thing that I was thinking about is Max only has the one specialization this set.
His weapon.
He just has Banksy.
Huh. Yeah,
you are right. There are not a lot of specializations
are there
other
any
than
at all?
Singularity.
Oh, right.
Because that's Teklovasm. But other than that...
Dash has access to all the Arcane Rising specializations.
Mm-hmm. But we're... I
mean, good for her.
yeah, she's able to just be a house, but nobody else got any specializations other than like the pistol and the wrench. But
I'm sure we'll get some in the future.
Yeah,
they'll give us some stuff in the supplementary slot or the expansion slot, whatever they call it. I think that like you can't like not give Teklovas and Arcane Barrier Evos.
True.
I think you have to give him some sort of option to fight Arcane.
Yeah.
And I think that's an easy fix. You just put Arcane Barrier on some Evos and call it a day, you know?
Yeah.
You just have them be able to, you know, you don't start with Arcane Barrier, sure, but you can find them and dig. How
about you?
I finally won my Teklo leveler this month. Gosh, dude, I've been trying to get that thing for all 4 weeks. I finally got there, went 3-0 with Azalea. beat a Lexi, which, I think I'm favored into that match.
Yep.
Beat a Fatigue Arachne, which I love beating Fatigue decks. Let me tell you what. It's my favorite thing to do in this game.
Just crushing on them.
And then I played 2 Lexis. Yeah, I played Tanner and Nathan. They were both on Lexi.
Oh, was Tanner
Me
in
and Tanner's game was actually
final?
super close. I blind Azalea at the end to try to hit a dominate. He's at like 4 life. No. He was at less life than that. So even a 5 cost would have done it, or a 5 power arrow does it. And then I whiffed, going blind. And there was another line where I could have attacked still for I think 8, but then it wasn't dominated, and he could have probably just 3 card blocked and then attacked me back, and we were both super low, so I just went for the dominate and got unlucky.
Got there.
But well, I did get there. I ended up winning in the end, but he ended up having a pretty bad hand in response to that blunder. I know, dude. He was so close, and Tanner's been doing such a good job at just keeping strong. He expresses all the time that he just wants to win more, and it's like, yeah, dude. The more you play, I promise, the better you get, and just that's And he made it to the finals, and we were just talking the day before. He's like, I haven't made it to the finals a lot, and he just made it the next day. So I was like, hell yeah, man. It sucked that I had to take him down with one of his probably bad matchups in the format. But I was trying to explain to him too, it's hard to win any tournament when all these heroes have bad matchups, and it's hard to dodge them through
especially with
5 rounds of Swiss or
I hate to say it, but the variance in the game as well too.
They say that it has little variance, and the game does have little variance, but I think the variance honestly lies in your matchups. Yeah, it really does. Trying to dodge Dromais all day for me, or dodge Bravos, it's like good luck.
And especially in this meta
right now. This
is why
you just play mechs and mash people's faces.
Yeah, Cliff doesn't care about matchups.
No. Cliff just builds his deck and just
Give me
goes.
that jugular.
Oh shit! No, but I was happy to win my technical leveler finally, and it was Azalea has been 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1 for a while.
Yep,
finally got there.
Hey,
it's been a while.
You. Proud Azalea made it.
Yeah. I think Tanner's gonna switch over to Azalea now too after Lexi rotates. So that'll be fun to have another.
Well,
Azalea shop.
He's been on Ranger this whole time, so why not switch?
I think he really likes the way that
Azalea plays.
Yeah, him seeing it in action. He's just like, how are you doing this? I think I hit him for 17 dominate one time with all the pumps and my bracers of belief, and it was crazy with all the on hit tokens. Yeah. Everything.
Just
frailty,
inertia,
blood
frailty,
rot, all of it.
Yeah.
Seek and destroy everything.
Dude, all those laces are just they're beautiful. I love every aspect of those buffs. They're just so nice. Even premeditate too in Lexi. Huge.
I'm also sold my Art of War idea against Warmongers is
bad.
Well, it's good if it lines up, and I actually did have it line up where Carter played a Warmongers against me. I had Art of War in hand, didn't have the second arrow.
No,
had the arrow in arsenal, so I could have gave it a go again. I even had my tunic counter up, so I was ready to go and really show, okay, this is good against Warmongers. But then I look at my hand, it's 3 pumps, Art of War, and then I have an arrow in arsenal, and
that's just how it lined up, huh?
It didn't line up. It lined up, but it didn't. So that kind of told me, hey, this card actually needs more help. It's not just the answer on it by itself.
I suppose it'd be tough, especially when you're running half pumps and half arrows, just because the variance in that draw is tough.
So I'm taking that card out before ProQuest season.
Fair enough.
But let's get into this Rathe review of
before
Arcane
we get
Rising.
into the Rathe review.
Sure.
We got to get into our weekly heavy hitters talk. Okay.
Oh yeah, sure. We should probably mention some of that. Definitely. So we got some news.
So we got news about the class cards. Yeah. There's dual class cards.
Yeah. And from what I see, we have Brute, Guardian, and Warrior. So a lot of the community was right about that.
Yep.
All the heavy hitters in the game. I'm thinking we're going to get a 4th one, though.
Come on, please give me a Gladiator, man. I know. Give it to me. I want it.
That border you brought up really made me think.
Dude, I mean, it just like points to all.
Yeah, when you look at the article that they've released, that border looks like the flesh and blood border for sure.
Yeah, it does. I think that will be the border probably, but interesting to see that they're doing like dual class cards again, as in like the Ninja Assassin, Ranger.
We could see another like Outsiders type of draft format where you have like 6 heroes to choose from, or something. That'd be really cool.
Where they do like 3 of them are gonna be get the adult treatment, and then the other 3 will just stay young. It'll be interesting. Some people are saying like, oh, because it's Warrior, let's get Kasai. If you break her down, she's from Volcor. She's not from like Solana or any of these. Yeah. She's from Volcor.
Isn't the arena doesn't that like isn't that like symbolic of just kind of like bringing everyone from Rathe together to fight in the arena kind of thing though? Like you could bring someone from Soul, or what is it called? Soul?
I feel like they're kind of basing it off of classic battles, like
it feels like Welcome to Rathe 2.0.
Because if we do get a Dory, and some signs point towards it, because we're getting those full art sleeves. I mean, hey, we could get a new Dory with glistening steel blade in the set.
Do you want a new Dory, or do you just want support for old Dory?
Just honestly support for old Dory. We've seen the new Dory, Quicksilver Prodigy. Mm-hmm. She's not really excelled. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're just gonna play one, why wouldn't you just play plain Dory?
Yeah,
because she really relies on just go again.
Well, isn't the new one just only a young hero?
Yeah, it is only young. Yeah. Yes. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what we get. We could potentially get a Quicksilver Prodigy and a new warrior for the adult. Mm-hmm. I would like to see a dual wielding, like
a warrior that can hold two weapons.
Yes.
Yeah, and
like that's
make
adult.
That'd be sweet. Like because, bigger Kodachis.
yeah. I mean, the sabers. Even just using the sabers. Sabers are actually great swords. Yeah. I think they're awesome. I mean, you could go off and say, "Oh, bolt and combo." Yeah, but.
I don't even think LSS intended for that to happen.
Weapon, dude. I don't think they did either.
Because it doesn't feel anything like Bolton when you actually see that deck. And like, I suppose you are comboing with his soul, but
yeah. I mean, that's just a lot of prep just to go off for churning.
Did you see the new spoilers at all, Cliff?
No, I have not.
Yeah, there's
I have not.
There's dual class cards, and it's looking like we might have like another Outsiders kind of thing. So I think, wasn't that you saying how you thought it might be 6 heroes? Was that last week?
That was that was me.
Was that you or Cliff?
That was me.
Oh, okay.
But Cliff does.
I was gonna say no. I don't think that was me. I thought it was gonna be another Outsider like set.
Didn't you say that your favorite set to draft is Outsiders though?
Yeah, I think it's probably the most balanced draft that I've played in Flesh and Blood so far. Like everything just felt really good about drafting that set.
That's what I've heard a lot of people say. Like along those lines.
I do love Bright Lights drafts, don't get me wrong, but that's mainly because I'm just a Met guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Looking impartially at it, Outsiders is probably the best drafting set that I've drafted.
Yeah,
because I only drafted Rathe like twice, I think.
Oh, that's a shame, dude. Because that set is so good.
Yeah,
we have not drafted too many of the older sets.
I never had the unfortunate to draft Arcane.
Yeah,
drafting that
I've only done
looks
it once.
like it'd be painful.
Yeah, I've never done it either, and I don't think I plan on doing it really.
No.
I mean, it'd be fun to do once just to experience it, but at the same time, I heard it is so bad.
I thought about maybe cracking the case I do have to just draft it with us to have a little more content and give like our anecdotal evidence of the draft, because I've only done it once, and that was like at the beginning of the game.
Years ago, yeah.
And it was during like Tales or whatever meta where like we just did it to have fun, down in Mankato after a tournament, because a lot of us had just never done it at that point. But hey, maybe that's a good segue into our Rathe review of Arcane Rising. So how do you guys want to start? Let's start with maybe just I can kind of go through the set. Basically, it's the second set of Flesh and Blood. It had 4 heroes. I'm looking at you, heavy hitters. We need 4 heroes, hopefully.
4,
please.
Heroes.
Or 6. We'll take 4 or 6. It's fine.
Yeah.
The heroes were Azalea, who was a ranger. We had Kano, was the game's first wizard. Viscerai, which was a rune blade. And we had Dash. Last but least, we had Dash.
Yes, indeed.
Nothing from Cliff? Damn. She was a mechanologist, by the way. You guys know that, though.
Kind of going through and breaking down these heroes. How would you guys go about ranking these heroes?
Yeah, let's maybe say who. I mean, I'm going to be biased here, but let's say who we think is. What do you want to say? The most powerful, highest ceiling? Because I think there's. Just the best overall? Let's do best overall.
Best overall. Are we including banned cards or?
Oh yeah, just let's gotta. You
I
gotta
suppose
think.
it wasn't during that time though.
No, well, yeah. The thing is, back in the day, the meta was like Turtle Katsu was like kind of the premier top deck, and then Arcane came out. And well, actually, I think it was right before Crew is when the Turtle Katsu thing happened. But then people figured out the Dash deck, and you could play basically item Dash, where I think Matt Rogers won an early calling on that deck, and then everyone started playing the Dash deck. So there was like this real fatigue problem at the beginning of the game. And that was all Dash and Katsu. Katsu was a great deck at just like flipping the switch and being aggro, playing defense. He can do both roles. Same as Mech. They could do both as well. They could easily block you with a ton of D-Reacts. I mean, back then they'd play D-Reacts because they weren't really boosting much. They'd play the items, they'd do the pistol plan, play D-Reacts, play unmovables. I mean, like it was, that was the sauce back then.
Yeah.
But even though we know Dash was like performed better than these heroes, I think, in her time, I still think Azalea's just like, I mean,
yeah.
she's my bae. So like, I can't choose someone else. I'd have to pick Azalea.
I had Dash.
Yeah, no, you're probably right.
Number one.
You're probably right. Like I said,
especially
I'm biased.
During that time, like you were saying, Dash and Turtle Katsu. When Dash came out, she was just her aggro aspect in like zipper hits in your 0 to 60s.
Yeah, there was nothing that felt like Dash.
No.
The aggressive, really super aggressive, and the fact you're eating your own deck to do it, like you're really sacrificing a lot to do it.
Because I mean, when you're doing Katsu, and this was like the first, aggro deck, you're attacking for like 1, 5 with Surging Strike if you can get it off, right? If you go for that combo. Otherwise, you're attacking for like 2, 3, 4 maybe at the top. Like, unless you're getting your actual combos off to get that buff.
Yeah. Well, and like
they're weak attacks.
A lot of the cards did have go again in Ninja, but some of them didn't, and basically all Met cards had go again.
Had boosts, so you get to go again
if you want to.
So I had Dash at number 1, coming out of the Arcane Rising for me. Yeah. Cliff, how about you?
This is tough for me because I just, for who I am, I want to say Dash is probably the strongest, right? But looking kind of impartially at it, I honestly want to say that this is probably who I'd go number 1.
Wow, Viserai, huh?
There's
he had his time in the sun too,
you
though,
can do.
With Skeleta.
I mean, once Skeleta came out, he was a house.
And to be fair, that was post Arcane Rising, so that we didn't have that version of Viserai in when Arc was released. But that deck was crazy.
Would hum, absolutely.
That deck was nuts.
So let's kind of get into each hero here.
Sure. Which one you guys want to break down first?
I'm gonna go alphabetical order here. Okay. So we're gonna start off with Azalea. I had Azalea.
Hey, let's maybe before we break down each hero, there are a few like one thing I did want to talk about before we do that is like the fact that James, I think it was James, he came out and said maybe a year or two ago about how Azalea was not her design had to be
dumbed down.
Yeah, they had to really dumb the hero down because it was too powerful. It was the best deck in the game at one point.
He did
in testing, is what he said.
I do think I know what you're talking about because he said that. I think he was just talking about Rangers in general were the strongest class in Flesh and Blood, and that they did have to.
It makes me
down.
think maybe the arrows were not. You didn't have to shoot them from Arsenal at first, or maybe there was some weird thing where they that was the fix, where they said, okay.
That's
you have to do it from Arsenal or something, and maybe originally the bow just said you can just the bow just allows you to use them from hand,
or something.
Or just like there was no Arsenal involved, and I'm thinking because that really is that's a serious drawback.
Dude, yeah, I mean, I feel like that's what you'd have to do though it makes complete sense mechanics wise. For the Ranger, but
just makes you wonder what it was. I want to know what it was so bad, or what the initial design of Azalea.
I know, and when we heard this too, wasn't it before even Ranger was even good before Outsiders and everything?
Like I said, this was I heard this on a podcast. I'm sorry, I don't remember. I'm sorry if you're listening and you had him on your podcast, but he said on an interview, it might have even been like Flake, honestly, because I know he went on his show quite a bit. Mm-hmm. But he had told everyone that the hero was a lot different at first, and it was the strongest deck in the game.
If you break it down too, think about it. So they say that it was the strongest like hero, right? Mm-hmm. They also claimed with Arcane Rising. If you look back, they also said that Viz was not supposed to be in the set. That it was actually supposed to be an assassin.
No, I think it was. No, it was Azalea. The Rangers weren't supposed to be in the set.
No. It
Are
was
you sure?
Viz. 100%. Because the only hero that was supposed to deal Arcane, I'm pretty sure, was Kano. And if Rangers had to be dumbed down, what card that goes with Assassin if Arachne was supposed to be in the set goes with those two heroes? Codex of Frailty.
Okay. Currently,
maybe during that meta, it was way too strong to even have.
Yeah.
So their vision was to, give heroes talents after that aspect, as in Chain, Prism.
Yeah.
You got your Toa heroes, as in Briar, blah blah blah. Right. Those heroes are insanely strong, and then they couldn't drop Codex of Frailty until Outsiders because the ceiling of some of those heroes were way too high compared to some of the others.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they just like completely took that out, and that's where they were saying that it could be the strongest hero.
Yeah, I think it was more of wasn't the assassin. I don't think they were happy with the design in Assassin at first.
No,
and that was like a big reason of why they took it out and replaced it with Viz.
Yes,
but at first we were supposed to get I think Arachne.
Yes,
in Arcane Rising,
because a lot of Arcane Rising dealt with, like top decking, milling, looking at your top deck, Azalea, Kano.
Manipulation of the
of your top deck. Yeah. Even Dash with boosting.
Yep.
So if you hit something, so that's where I think Viz was the replacement because he doesn't really duel.
He doesn't
do a lot with top decking.
He's real vanilla. Well, I mean, he's powerful and stuff, but he's very generic. His ability just kind of feels very.
Honestly, I think he was supposed to be like a hero that comes in during Crucible. Probably. Like an adult hero like they did with...
They gave us Skeleta in that set.
With Everfest.
Yeah.
And the Arcanite Shard was the Fabled, so I don't know.
But yeah, those were two things I kind of wanted to touch on before we got into like the deep dive on each hero.
Good call.
Just kind of interesting. It's funny to think back that like we were supposed to have Assassin early on in the game.
That's true. It was intended to come out a lot sooner.
Mm-hmm. Also, this was the first set that like had arcane damage. That was a new thing to players. If you don't know what arcane damage is, instead of blocking with your cards, you pitch to prevent the damage, and it was just an entire different way to defend. So it really punished decks that were short blues.
Which, I mean, if you think about it, the fact that they brought Viz in, and then you do have two heroes out of the set that deal with arcane, and then two that don't, makes sense.
Yeah, I suppose you're right, yeah. The Arcane, I know in the draft format was like really bad for people, or it was like very menacing. Where if you just picked Kano, you just won.
Yeah,
felt like
because you had to draw your null rune, or you had to draft your null rune. I should say.
Yep.
And how many pieces of null rune do you get out of
like I said, I barely remember that draft. I remember I picked Azalea, or I drafted Azalea, and thinking back, I mean, I remember just having fun. Like it was at a time in the game where like just playing Fab
new
anywhere.
Heroes,
it was right after COVID, and like just playing Fab at any event was fun. Like it didn't matter what we were doing.
Yep.
I didn't remember it being like a bad format. I know Arc gets a ton of shit for their draft format. But,
yep.
Right. Yeah, let's move on. Let's move on to the heroes.
Let's break Azalea down first here.
Okay.
What do you guys think are some of the, let's just go top 3 to top 5 cards that helped Azalea in this set, or even just Ranger in general?
Okay, let's explain Ranger first. Ranger is a class that can only well, if she equips a bow, I suppose you don't have to equip a bow as a ranger.
Yep.
Your bow says you're only able to shoot arrows from arsenal, or actually arrows just say that. Arrows can only be shot from arsenal or attacked from arsenal. So the trick with a ranger is to get the arrow in arsenal first, and there are plenty of different ways to do it. I will say, flavor-wise, mechanically, she really does feel like she's knocking the death whistle, if you will. but it really does feel like, you're knocking a bow and you're like shooting these arrows, and like even with Lexi, like the multiple times you're doing it, it really does feel like, Legolas or something, where you're just like, shooting a ton of arrows at once. But mechanically, it really does offer you the chance to, like, that's what really drew me to the class at first, was playing it. I mean, I would get my ass kicked, but just the loading and the opting and the putting the card, all of that I was like, okay, this is it. This is like the actual physical like process of like doing all the moves was just like what drew me to the class.
True.
And yeah, it really feels like you're shooting arrows. For cards that are the best, I mean, I don't see how we could talk about this without talking about Red in the Ledger.
Red in the Ledger for sure is number one.
I think that card might be the best card in the game, but no, I think it might be the best card in the game, but it's not, because it is in Rangers, and there is still that inconsistency in Ranger that you will always run into. It is almost unheard of to go 8 rounds of a battle hard and not have your deck like not function, and
not function,
just
at
basically
some point.
hand tempo to your opponent.
Yeah,
because that's what happens in the deck. You'll draw 4 arrows, 4 pumps, and you'll just say, shoot an arrow pass, or you block with your hand, shoot arrow pass, or you just just literally just say I pass.
Yeah,
Hope to draw.
Hope to get something
anything
that you can do.
God forbid you load or you arsenal your 1 pump. You'll have 3 pumps in hand, and you draw another one. Like, that's happened to me plenty of times.
And I feel like with Azalea, that's like her game plan with the new. I mean, after her buff and Outsiders with the Codex of Frailty, just the recursion of that Red in the Ledger as soon as you see one is just detrimental.
You really get to do it a lot now with the cards like Codex and Memorial Ground.
It's so nice. But I think so. Red in the Ledger number 1. Would you guys have a number? Cliff, do you agree with that? A number 1? Would you have? If you don't have Red in the Ledger, I might smack you.
I mean, we don't even really need to like.
I don't know if it was if I had it down as number 1, but it was definitely in the top 3 for the set.
Yeah, it's one of the cards that like points you to
It's just one of the cards that when you read it, you go, huh.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then when you read Azalea's ability, you go, huh.
Yeah, that's right. No, I mean, when I win a game with Azalea, it's usually off the back of that card.
Yeah.
Or I should say most games. Some decks it doesn't do anything against, like Bravos does nothing against a Bravo. Even like Assassins.
True.
With Assassins, they just still get to like react and play cards.
Do whatever.
Yeah, they just get to react to their hero ability, or they just play the actual reaction cards a lot of times. And it's
oh no, I can only play 1 attack. That's what I was gonna do anyway.
Exactly.
Go ahead, try to defend that 1 attack. You
in
bitch.
those games, you try to find just a more useful arrow, and that's another thing I'll say about Rangers is they feel very much like a toolbox deck. If you're familiar with any other TCGs, the toolbox term just comes from like a jack of all trades type of deck, where they have an answer to basically everything in the meta, and you can kind of find that in her arrows. You don't see very many like toolboxy like decks as much anymore. I know early on people would build it with 1 arrow in the sideboard and 2 of this one and 1 more of this one, and it would literally, you could knock the death whistle for all of these options in any scenario. And it was just very like you could really, it felt like a toolbox deck for real. It was Fab's version of it.
So would you guys have a number 2 for Azalea?
I mean,
I put Skullbone.
Yeah, I had Cross Wrap too. It's like I know like it's pretty easy to pick equipment, but I think that almost might be one of the
for her. I mean,
you cowards! There is an obvious answer here.
Oh no!
What is it? What's your answer?
Eye of Ophidia.
Ooh,
that's true.
That's so sneaky. I actually have had that card in my deck.
That is true.
The fact that it doesn't block, though, has just always been such a problem for me.
It sucks, but right out of Arcane Rising, dude, you get your blue pitch, you can play your, 1-cost buffs, you can get your Go Again arrow off, and then you can do the Azalea shenanigans for your dominated arrow.
When I realized it actually does have utility in Azalea early on, I had an Eye of Ophidia, and I didn't play Kano at first,
Yep.
But I was like, oh, I can actually use this card. Yeah. I was like so excited to use the Fable in my deck, because at the time they just weren't. Yeah, I wasn't using Heart of Findle or anything. But yeah, it was. That card actually does have some play in her. But Cross Wrap, I think you get so much value out of that card where you put that up against almost any other piece in the game, like armor piece. Are you getting more value out of like anything else? It blocks for one, has blade break. I know.
I mean crown, but other than crown,
I'm saying like information. The information you gain
True.
in a game as a whole with cross
Crown
wrap,
Mod?
probably
No.
better than like any freaking headpiece. Crown
Yeah.
of Providence, you can block for 2, and you're like
You get to-
getting the 5-card hand. That could be like up there.
yeah, you get to cycle something.
But
which
man,
helps.
cross wrap feels like that's what makes the deck go. It really does. That makes it. You start your
does.
turn. You have a card in arsenal. You have the cross wrap activation, and it feels so good. As
I don't
an
think
Azalea
you'll
player.
ever see any other ranger use that headpiece.
Well,
Never say never.
yeah. I hope we do. I hope that the old pieces don't just like become attached to one hero, and they can have a way
Be
to
utilized.
reincorporate them into the game. Yeah, I just feel like when a hero LLs, if like there's a piece of armor, like with New Horizon, I know Riptide has been using New Horizon, right? That's kind of one of the
Yeah,
But like when Lexi
I
leaves,
really don't think you should run Skullbone and Riptide. You can probably get away with it, but the two that you'd probably want to focus on would be the New Horizon, and failing that, probably just a Crown of Providence.
yeah.
Well, number 3, what did you guys have?
Again, it's an equipment piece. Like all her arrows, I think are really good. None of them like are as good as Red in the Ledger. That's why I had that one
True.
up there, because that card just kind of is just like, it's why you play that. It's why you play
True.
Azalea over Lexi.
True.
If you choose that, like I'm choosing to play Azalea next weekend, and it's because of Red in the Ledger.
Because of Red in the Ledger. See, I put knock just because you get
Knock's
to
good.
find,
Knock's good.
find your...
Mine was Bullseye Bracers.
I had a suspicion.
Yeah.
Bullseye Bracers, I was wondering if you were going to put that on the list.
Card
just
is
because it's
so
good.
It's
Yeah,
it's like
good.
one of my favorite pieces. You can do some
No,
crazy things off the back of that.
No.
Okay,
no.
what do you got? What do you got for us, Cliff?
Hamstring shot.
That's good, but it's just what an extra. Actually, okay. There's been times where I've actually shut a person's turn down off of that card.
Yes.
Like one Bravo,
yes.
like if it hits against
Hamstring
Bravo.
shot is just awesome.
Yep, it's got some play into some stuff.
You don't have your Red in the Ledgers out yet, but you have the ability to get that hamstring in Arsenal and get that dominated. You know what you're going to do? You're going to get that bitch in your Arsenal and dominate it.
Yep.
All right. Well,
I think we kind of covered her good cards.
what's a little bit on her lore?
She
here?
is from Metrix. Metrix is northwest, I think, in Rathe. It is the
she's from the pits.
right. Sorry, right. Which is
Below metrics.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
from
You're right.
that
You're right.
side.
She is from the pits. Metrix and the pits are basically, it's like kind of the pinnacle of like their technology in Wraith.
Yep.
Feels very much like the rich are living up in their high castles and the poor are down in the pits scurrying around. She was an orphan. She did not have parents. She was homeless for her childhood. She was a squeaker, if you guys are familiar with that term in Fab. Just like little orphan kids that no one cares about. It's actually super sad when you read her lore. It's kind of fucked up. She survived through just means of, that crazy, like, she was very smart.
Things. Yeah. Don't go near the mercenaries.
Yep.
Don't go by the taverns.
Don't eat the brains.
Yeah.
Like, I read that and I was like, what are we doing? But her first, another thing about her lore that kind of made me, like, think about her in a different light was her first contract was to gather up 10 kids and put them in a like storage hut crate thing for some unknown person, and that was for like I think it was 10 coppers or something.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, okay, she's gonna do some sort of heroic shit and save the kids, and no, she doesn't. The story just ends with, well, I'm more important than them and I have to do this, and I'm like, wait a second. It's implied that she went and did that. There was no ending to it, but it's implied she did it. That kind of like, I was just like, wow, that was kind of nuts.
They go dark sometimes,
dude.
man. They go dark.
The lore is wild.
It's good.
I mean, the amount of F-bombs they throw.
That's
and
why I like it. That's why I like it. It's good.
Well, they kind of like deal with real life stuff. We can move on to the next hero. You want to go Dash next?
Yeah, let's go Dash. What'd you guys have at 1?
Some of my top cards are like, it's hard to even like pick for her for me, but I think Tekla Core is up there.
That's what I had to.
Yeah. It's
Cliff?
it's not the one you start with, but
Number one is we've talked about this card so many times, and there's a reason for it. Spark of Genius.
I had that at 2.
yeah, it's up there too for me. It's like at least top 3. Spark of Genius is just a fucking house of a card, and now the
It
fact that
is.
you get to go crank items out of it and keep
Yeah,
going.
you just go
like,
grab a
what?
free boom grenade.
Yeah, dude.
To give an additional 4 damage, crank it for go again, and then you draw your card.
That's
It's nuts.
insane.
It's so good.
How is that even, dude? That's insane.
It's so good.
I also had the gun,
And,
written down.
and then because you didn't even do that, and you get to look at the top of your deck with the new dash. If you get another one, you can just instant it off the top for 1 resource.
What the fuck? I also had Teklo gun in there though because like, just remembering Dash and remembering old Dash, it was always about the gun.
True.
That gun was so annoying, and then they induction chamber you, and then they
I
like
was
put
I
the
was
plasma
debating on putting
purifier.
that in there, but
It's
at the time it didn't
It
have
feels like
plasma
Kodachi's.
purifier.
Oh yeah, you're right, huh?
So it was just
Yeah.
induction chamber.
When I
at
remember
the time.
Dash though, I just feel fucking just like.
But
Yeah,
but if you are going to
PTSD
go
from that
over
stupid
time,
gun.
yes, it is a great item if you're going for that game
Yeah.
plan with the pistol. Otherwise, I had high octane in there as well.
Yeah.
High octane's a great card.
Yep.
Anytime you boost, gain an action
Yep.
point. So,
So how do you guys talk about equipment for all the other heroes? But then
I
you
do
don't
have
include
I have
Teklo Foundry
Teklo.
Heart.
I have Teklo Foundry torn between 3rd and 4th with the high octane.
Nah, see, in my mind, Teklo Foundry Heart probably should have been 1 for me, but I just love the impact of Spark of Genius. But
Teklo
Teklo Foundry
Foundry
Heart
seems
really just opens up her turn.
when
Yep.
you look at what it does and you take away the drawbacks, the fact that it eats 2 cards in your deck, like you're gaining 1 extra resource every turn,
Yeah.
essentially. No chess piece
Yeah.
does that.
No.
So if we're
You've got
talking,
a tunic on demand,
yeah,
basically.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's crazy. That's pretty crazy.
That's true.
I think the way that
Not
you
only
banish
that,
the
the
2
two
cards though
battle
balances
ones.
it. For
Yeah.
sure.
Well, it's
It's expensive.
You go through the deck so
It's
fast.
expensive.
Yeah, it
you're
is.
you're paying 2 cards for 1. Well, so let's see. You have to pitch a card to activate it, and then you eat 2 cards from deck. So that's 3 cards for 1 resource.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
I-
costly. Well, you have to think about the fab math there. You're giving up 3 cards for an extra
See,
resource cliff.
I
So like,
typically-
it doesn't really matter what the cards are. You just kind of value them at 1 card.
It's really good because it can also block 3
Yeah.
with a resource on demand if needed. I don't like using it that much if I don't.
Is that Battle
have
Worn,
to.
right?
Yeah, Battle Worn.
Yeah.
So that's why I had it at torn between 3rd and 4th. Otherwise, max V2 because that came out of Arcane Rising. If you got that card off, then absolute house. Mm-hmm. It was a great card.
Yeah, I feel like anytime Cliff has beaten me with Dash, it's been off the back of that card.
High Octane is kind of great. However, I honestly think for my 3rd slot, I've got to go Teklo Core. Teklo Core is just probably one of the greatest specializations in my book.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the shenanigans I was doing with Plasma Mainline, keeping that
Oh, yeah.
around for 3 turns, 6 free resource, and then what I'd love doing is you throw like a zipper hit first, 1 cost,
Mm-hmm.
so boost, activate Teklo Foundry, activate that combustible courier,
Yep.
and then pitch for the rest of your turn.
Yeah, hell yeah.
True.
Do you know anything about the lore of Dash, Cliff?
I only know about some of the stuff that was revealed via Bright Lights. That's just
Okay.
kind of like the Teklo Princess, and there's
I
this
thought it was
whole
kinda cool.
shenanigan rivalry with Max and stuff.
I thought it was kind of cool. Like, there's like a dichotomy between Dash and Azalea, I think, in Arcane, where like Dash lives in Metrics, and she has rich parents that are both scientists that work for the Teklo Industries, and she's like a rich like rebel kid,
Yeah.
that's like very entitled, and she's
Yep.
got all the money in the world, and everyone knows she's up to no good all the time, but they can't do anything because she has rich parents and they're smart and they're part of but then you got Azalea, who's like eating whatever she can find in the alleyways and just a dreg of society in the pits, where you just have
True.
the 2 total opposites of like this like strong female character.
So if you also read about the lore in her, it also talks about her like going and stealing some stuff from like the lab and like like scaling up the needle and stuff like that.
She's got a prototype in the whole entire story, like a prototype suit, and
But-
it's like it feels so much like Go Gadget. She's just got all
she
these
goes
different.
flying out and she fucking starts sliding down the side of the building.
Uh-huh.
I think that's where they got the picture and like the art essentially for her, character art.
When she's like jumping up and going, yeah.
No, sliding.
Oh,
Not Dash IO.
The young Dash.
No, not young Dash. Dash esteemed, old Dash.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about at first. Where she kind of looks like she's like up in the air, sort of.
Yeah,
It's
but
like,
if you look, she's sliding on a building.
oh, is she?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll have to relook.
Yeah. Metal scraps.
Very
like,
cool.
Coming up.
No, it's
So
funny.
that-
At the beginning
just
of
a little
the beginning of
side
her
note on
story,
that, but-
she's dressed up as a merchant, and she sells a random person her induction chamber. It's the prototype she made, and then she puts a tracking device on it, and then that's how she ends up leads her to Tekla Labs. She breaks in, and her friend ends up going missing in that story, and she basically spends the story trying to find him, and ends up finding him doing a like bank robbery, or it's like a heist. They're trying to steal. Actually, it's the ore from, you brought this up weeks ago. The ore that is found in Metrics that has the arcane barrier
essentially
like,
built in. Yeah.
what was it called?
Titan. It's like
I have it here somewhere. Hold on. Tenaton ore. Tenaton ore. Pretty cool. I mean, pretty cool how that weaves into the story, and how like all of that's why the mech equipment from Arc has it, and that's why the Ranger equipment from Arc has it. Like, very cool.
Yeah, I think it's cool how they incorporate a lot of that with the actual game. It's good.
Okay, let's move on to, you guys want to do Kano next?
Yeah, let's get into Kano.
Cool. Kano was the first wizard that we got. I have played very little Kano, I suppose, in the grand scheme of things. I remember trying it and stuff at first, and I did enjoy it because it was so different than the other decks. And that's why I really did like to play it there for a few months. This was back before even events, and we'd have just buddies over and play at the kitchen table. But Kano was our first wizard. You start at 30 health. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. Either
That's
you kill your
life.
opponent or you are dead.
dead.
Those games don't last very long usually. I suppose you can pitch stack and like block, right? And the good Kanos do that, and they do play a long game sometimes.
Yep.
And you can do that in the deck even at 30 health.
It is a tough matchup sometimes, especially if you don't know how to block Kano properly before he does his combo turn, like to utilize the most space.
Yeah.
Or most life, for room.
Yep. So what are some cards that incentivize you guys to play Kano?
Number one, Storm
it has to be Storms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Cards, best boots in the game.
Yeah, wizard equipment, boots.
When you die to a wizard,
it's the boots.
95% of the time it's boots. What's 90%? I mean,
I'd
most
say.
of the time you die by a wizard, it's off the activation of the boots. It just gives you an extra turn. I mean, the card just says you get to just play in action whenever you want.
It's not your turn; it's our turn.
That's right. That's right. That one, and obviously Blazing Ether.
I have. Yeah.
Blazing Ether's the.
I also had Lesson. I like Lesson a lot. The fact that you just get to throw 3 damage, and then you also get to.
Almost always, when you do the
surge.
crazy turn, it's like you pump up your lesson to 4. They like AB3 it. You get through for 1. You get to go find your blazing, and then you storms and the blazing. We've all been there.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, Kano is like probably, I would say, probably has the highest ceiling of any of these heroes for sure. I mean, you can like from nothing, just 37, 40 damage. I mean, I've seen 50 plus, just like crazy weird with E-pots out and like just crazy
a lot
shit.
of setting up ragamuffins for the top and
Play your tomes at instant speed, draw 2 more cards, play another tome of Findle, draw 2 more cards. Like, I mean, you have all these tomes that draw cards, and if you're able to like play them off the top at instant speed, it gets crazy.
True.
Hot take, one of the biggest buffs that came to Kano was the Potion of Deja Vu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've seen Kano players utilize that for sure. And it's pretty cool how you're able to like use it. I mean, I think there's all these weird things that Wizard cool. that deck kind of gives you the opportunity to explore, and no other deck really does that. I think Wizard does a good job at, you feel like you're a wizard. You have like all your armor doesn't block, you feel squishy.
A few honorable mentions for me that I had as well was like Tome of Aetherwind.
Yeah.
Beautiful tome. Just draw 2 for free.
Super good.
It's super good. Yep. Sonic Boom as well. Very, very useful.
I had Sonic as my second.
I like Sonic better than Forked Lightning. Forked Lightning's not bad, but I don't know. I mean, when are you dealing 2? I mean, I guess you run that in like.
Forked Lightning was like, I mean, it still is.
Throw my matchup, I guess. Take out dragons or something.
I don't know if you can even ping 2. Or does
well,
it say hero or
you're
target?
not able to split that because it has to go to target hero.
It's just two
Oh,
instances
yeah.
of damage, which
Yeah.
can then be pumped. or
But
something.
that card ramps off so well
Yeah.
from a lot.
Do you guys know anything about his lore?
I just know that he was like
He's got some
a
cool
wild,
lore.
a wild like young wizard. Like
Yeah.
he excelled more than most of the class.
Dude.
He
It's so cool. I mean, he comes from Volcor, which is the big volcano in Rathe, and it's very much Eastern Asia feel, kind of
Oh,
royalty
shit.
and the royal palaces, and there's definitely a hierarchy there between them and the citizens and stuff.
Yep.
But Kano is he's a very like talented young wizard he's going through this. The story opens up where he's going through something called the Trial of Embers, where they're supposed to like manipulate a bowl of lava. And Kano has this old incantation from a book he found in the library that he uses to pass the test, and he passes it with flying colors. He actually turns the lava into a dragon. If you look at his young card, the art in the young card where he's swishing that dragon, that lava dragon, that's actually him passing the Trial of Embers. So he passes it with flying colors and impresses all of his teachers, and you end up catching up with him later as an adult, and they have him basically walking around the palace fixing sigils. He's like fixing lights with his magic. That's his remedial task of his life. It's just I'm gonna go around the palace and fix lights. He kind of hates it. There's actually a funny scene where he comes up to some water sigil and he hates water magic. It makes him feel uncomfortable, and it gets under his skin, and he has to fix these water sigils that like just make him he just hates water. I think it's so cheeky and just it's so funny.
Well, I mean, you think about it, he's from Volcor, the
Yeah.
volcano, so obviously it'd make water and make him just fucking cringe.
It's so cool. But his teacher that did the trial ended up they talk about what happened in the trial. This is years later.
Ryo?
No, Rio was one of the students that was with him.
Oh, what was
It's
his name?
it's a weird name. I couldn't even pronounce it when I was reading it. But he basically tells his teacher that he just cheated, and his teacher's like, "Oh, really? You cheated?" And he's like, "How did you do that?" And he's like, "Well, I used ether to amplify my fire magic, and that's kind of what made the teacher go, oh, okay, well, you need to talk to the higher ups. Let's take you down to the palace, and we'll go talk to the higher ups." But then the guy actually ambushes him and tries to kill Kano. And Kano does a spell against him that cuts off his connection to ether, and then the fact that he can't have magic anymore, he like shrivels up into this nasty zombie-looking guy because there was a spell over him that these creatures were like controlling all these people in Volcor to make them look normal.
Yep.
And when you don't have access to magic, then the spell goes away, and then you have like the zombie-looking carcass of a... Anyways, he gets in trouble for that. They find him standing over the guy's body when he was just defending himself. He goes to like trial with all the high wizards.
Okay.
And they basically put him on trial and ask him what happened. And he's like, "Hey, the guy attacked me. I did a spell that cut off his magic, and he turned into a zombie. What do you want me to do?" And then they don't believe him. And then he does the spell in the trial to the whole every wizard in the courtroom basically, and like 4 or 5 of them turn into zombies. So then they believe him at that point, right? Because he cuts off the ether to. So I mean, I don't know, his story of all of them, the best.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so cool. So like, I wanted to read the next one like so bad because it was just like he's this.
Give us another Kano. Come on, give us
more
more
lore, dude. I want to know what happens.
Dude, the lore's good.
But anyways, after that, he ends up getting the title of Drakai of Ether, because he was the one to basically find out that there's a big imbalance in ether.
Yep.
Among or across Volcor, which actually kind of points to the name of the set, Arcane Rising. It seems like in the story, like everyone is kind of figuring out that something's wrong with the magic in Wraith right now, and that's kind of what the lore touches on sometimes.
Yep.
Well, yeah,
let's
move on
get
to
into
Viz.
Viz. Yeah,
we're trying to pump through here. We got to leave here in probably 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Something.
Yeah. Well, what'd you guys have? Viz was a rune blade. Deals with rune chants. He creates them. It's a
Perfect balance of physical and arcane.
Yeah, physical and arcane. Yep. So, back in the day, his goal was to kind of gain rune chants and just like build up.
Yep.
And then
OTK, baby.
Attack. For number 1, I had of his cards Grasp. Dude, Grasp of the Arknight's a great one.
I actually think I had that at number 1 too. Let's see.
It's great equipment to block with. Pay 2 for a rune chant.
Yep.
Dealing arcane, anything you can do with arcane.
Yeah, like the fact that you can get more than 1 damage out of it is always like, if Gloves does that in the game, it's a good piece.
Would you
Mordred Tide obviously is like, I mean, come on.
Mordred Tide's amazing.
That card's gas, and that really enables some of his nasty turns.
Yep. Honestly, I threw Reduced to Rune Chant in there.
Yeah, I can see it.
Dude.
It's a sneaky good card.
I mean, when you're playing the OTK
I hate
build,
that you have to pay one for it though.
no, not unless if you're playing OTK, you have your Rune Chant. It costs less for each rune
right,
chant
so-
you control.
okay.
So then it's
Right,
just
right,
a free 4 block
You're right.
while creating a rune chant. It's amazing. So I honestly threw that in the top 5.
What were you gonna say, Cliff? I thought I heard you.
The cards that I picked are probably going to be a little bit different from your guys's. One, I didn't have Grasp of the Arcanite in the top 3 from this for me.
Okay.
Number 1, just to, be a little bit spicy, and because I think the card can do some very great things, would be Become the Arcanite.
I had that. Top 5. I had that in there.
It's a good blue
Number
block
5.
3.
Yeah, and you just get to search while discarding.
Yep.
So I mean, it's a good one.
A lot of times you get to like go search your 9th blade and then attack and then kill him with your rune chance off that card. I
Yep.
think is how they use it.
Yep.
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 9th Blades. I didn't have that in the top 5,
Oh,
but it is good,
That's a good card too. That's their finisher they use in the OTK, and I've died to that card many times.
dude. When it was Scalata, you just Scalata. If you run Oath the Arcanite, drop 2 of those, gaining 2 rune chance, buffing it by
Fucking nuts, dude.
6, and then attacking 15 physical while dropping 30 rune chance on them.
Yeah.
Read the Ruins, good honorable mention.
Yeah.
Fantastic action.
There's a lot of sweet cards in Viz. I remember Viz had a lot of popularity at first. A lot of people liked him.
He just looks sick as shit.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it.
He's
though.
one of the coolest.
He's got that
looking
real
heroes in
like
the game.
emo fucking metal goth sort of.
Yeah.
Just like his armor looks sick. He's got the magic all surrounding him and
like just
coming through the cracks in his armor, and he's
straight
just
badass.
yeah, dude. He looks like a fucking badass.
Straight badass.
We can kind of move on to his lore. Good segue.
wanna-
He's from the Demonastery, which
Yep.
is like a. How would you describe it? It's kind of like a place where people go to study the dark arts, honestly, and it's on like an island in the south of Rathe, so it's away from everyone else. And I mean, there's all sorts of like different scientists and wizardy type of people there. Not shamans, warlocks, that type of stuff. Necromancers.
Yep.
The story opens up though, and it says Viz isn't human. I don't know. It said Lord Sutcliffe made him, and I don't know exactly what that means. Is he like a fucking Frankenstein monster?
Yeah, kind of. If you look at his young, he's like,
Maybe he is. Yeah.
I think he was like a soul that he grabbed or something, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
See, it wasn't clear. I read it, and it just said he wasn't human, and that he just made him, and it kind of moved on. And I'm like, huh? Like
because in the lore with Chain, Lord Sutcliffe gets beheaded,
oh yeah, right.
right?
Yeah,
I think.
Lord, yeah. So he has Vis like doing all of like his errands. He's like Sutcliffe's little errand boy, and Sutcliffe can't use magic. He's not in tune with ether. So
Yep.
and Vis is. So he has Vis do all of his like dirty work and stuff around the palace, and he's like doing all this research and stuff. And then Vis hears like a whisper, and it's this like nagging whisper that he constantly is hearing. That's like egging him on and telling him he's weak and like you should not have a master and this and that. And he basically convinces him to like go against Sutcliffe, and he reads a tome that he wasn't supposed to read, that he required. And actually, the art on Read the Ruins, the lady who's doing the circle,
Yep.
he kills her for the book in the story.
Gotcha.
Corva, I think her name was.
Yep.
Takes her tome, reads the tome, and then like has this crazy weird experience where he comes in contact with like a demon. He ends up making a pact with the demon to basically free himself from Sutcliffe. It's kind of sad because now he's just kind of like in control, or the demon's sort of in control of him. It's it seemed like to me. But he wakes up and he like can't remember anything, and like he went through all these like, I mean, there were real trials, but I think they were in his head.
Yeah.
The story was weird. It was hard to follow compared to the other ones, but it was very cool. It was very dark. It ends with him waking up and he's looking at this demon in a big archway, and it's
I do want to read about more lore in him with like the Bequest of the Vast Beyond
yeah.
card. Just like I want to know some of the errands that he's running for Lord Sutcliffe, during some of that.
Yeah. Well, and also now it seems like he's maybe not under his control anymore.
I know. Well, yeah, because I mean, I think that leads into Monarch lore too with
yeah.
Chain.
Yep. And them trying to fight the old gods, right?
Yep. Yep. Well, enough of Viz. Why don't we do a quick what do you guys think were the top 5 cards to come out of Arcane Rising?
mean,
Top 2, Moon's Wish, Sun's Kiss.
oh
Jesus
my
Christ.
God!
Of course I
Here
knew he
we
was gonna say
go.
that.
Holy
I was
shit.
looking at some of them. I'm like, this guy's gonna say this. I know it 100%. All right. Well, after Cliff's
That's
first
my
two,
bread and butter, baby.
my first two are CNC and Art of War.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how you can't pick those two.
Absolute staples. Number 3, I also had Skull Cap, just because that was the helmet during the time. 3 block, has AB on it if you're lower life.
Yeah.
Just
No, that card was the premier helmet for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, that card was 200 plus forever.
yeah.
And it seemed very strong in its day. We got Crown of Providence, and then people just kind of fell out of favor with the skull cap.
Yep. Just because Crown's so much better.
I think it's better. Yeah, it's probably better.
Otherwise, I mean, I also had like other ones that came out of it were like Red and the Ledger, I'd say, was a top card. Stormstriders, obviously, another top equipment.
I was gonna say probably Stormies is somewhere in the top 5.
Just because it's a wizard staple.
I mean, the card is so strong on the face of it. Like,
is.
it's just, it doesn't even have to block. Who cares? you just don't care.
And then on top of Cliff's Moon's Wish, Sun's Kiss, I actually put Ravenous Rabble.
Nice, dude. It's a nice honorable mention.
I think that one's,
Yeah.
That's valid.
I had Red in the Ledger somewhere in the top 5 too. I don't really know where. Probably at the bottom of the top 5. But that, I mean, dude, I still think that card's like one of the best cards in the game.
It's an absolute beaut of a card.
Okay, we have time for maybe just one question. One question, Josh?
I think we got time for
Okay.
one.
This is kind of easy. I'm gonna put you on the spot. You guys kind of know about this one though. It's a good one.
Okay.
It's a good one. Sully asks, "What is your guilty pleasure?" This is one of my favorite fucking questions we've had thus far, dude. Because I actually have a funny, good answer. I can start off. You guys can think about yours. Okay. Well, at first I'm thinking, like Oreos at night? That's one of mine. But that's so lame. Like treats at night? Everyone does that.
Yeah.
It's terrible for you. It's so bad for you. But it's just like, I can't help it. A couple Oreos? Oh, yeah.
Just hits the spot.
But, dude, one of them that I think that I actually feel like a lot more men enjoy this than they say. A fucking hot bath after work, dude.
Okay.
Dude, it's... Now, I mean, I even love me a candle. I usually won't light the candle with the bath. We're not going that far.
Yep.
But dude, all that
So
like
you're just
those
sitting
girly
with a candle
scents.
that's
No,
unlit?
dude, when a candle is sent and when a candle is scented, when a candle is lit and I come home and I smell it, I'm like, this is heaven.
Wonderful.
This is heaven.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, I have like 2 herniated discs in my back, so like a hot bath is
so
like
good.
the best, dude. It is the best. It is one of my like things I'm not usually honest with people about.
But hey, dude, hot baths.
Dude,
Hot take, but hot baths
I mean,
are
hot
good.
take, but hot baths, dude. They're the best. Don't pick golf. You don't get to pick golf for this, Josh, either. Okay, that's not a guilty pleasure. Cliff, you got one?
To be fair, it's not. I don't know if it's like a guilty pleasure, but I've got a favorite chair. I love taking naps in this chair.
I mean, that counts. Yeah.
Well, it's not so much a nap as when I just pass out at like 2 a.m. watching whatever show I'm watching and wake up at 9 or whatever. Just sleep the whole night in my fucking chair. I wake up and I go, shit.
I could
Did it
never sleep in
again.
a chair. That's crazy to me. My back would be in just like aluminum foil when I woke up.
I've sat in that chair.
Well, that's because
No,
you don't
I've
have
sat
any
in
comfy
Cliff's chair,
chairs.
Did he tell you to get the fuck out right away? Is he protected with his chair?
I'm trying to think of my guilty pleasure, and dude, I can't think of one.
How about you just get back to us next week?
That's fair. I'll get back to you next
Think
week.
of a good one, though.
Yeah, I will.
I'm not going to let you forget this.
Warm cup of coffee in the morning, fresh off the bed.
That's not a guilty
I don't think that's
pleasure,
guilty.
goddammit.
I don't think that's guilty. That's like your
No.
golf answer.
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
Oh, my
just
guilty pleasure is eating hamburgers. Get the fuck out of here. That's everyone's guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasures that I get to every time I cook, I get to grill and drink a nice.
okay.
little-
We're gonna wrap this up. Josh is obviously okay.
Josh, you
We're gonna
stink.
we're gonna make Josh answer this next week. So join us in episode 14. It'll just be titled Josh's Guilty Pleasure.
Fair enough.
You better think about this and think about it good this week.
I'll think about it hard. Don't worry.
All right, let's get out of here, boys.
Yeah, let's get out of here. Catch us next week, like Ty said. Join the Discord. I'll have that in the bio. Also, check us out on Apple Podcasts. We are on there now as well.
Yeah.
Next week, we have PQs to cover, and Bailey will be back with us next week. So,
And if I'm not mistaken, Cliff, you're going to be in town for PQs, huh?
I'm going to be trying to make it back next weekend. Well, I have to. I've got an appointment to get shit done on my car on Saturday, so.
Okay.
try not.
Yeah.
There is no.
Yeah. Do or do not, Cliff.
That's what it is.
There is no try.
All right. On that note, let's sign out. All right, boys. Thank you for joining us, and we will catch you next week. Signing out. Peace.
See ya.
See ya.